forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack making backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the Vato speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby Maine. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
These apartments in the 2300 block of 18th Street Northeast awoke to find their homes ringed with crime scene tape. The streets blocked with police and emergency vehicles. That's troubling. But as police describe why they were there, to say it's just troubling falls way short. A man had been shot in broad daylight, 8:30 in the morning.
What's disturbing about this is that the preliminary investigation shows that the victim in this case was holding a child carrier with an infant and holding the hand of a 5-year-old little boy.
It was 8-something in the morning. I was drinking my coffee.
Almost 2 weeks after a shooting took place in this area of 18th Street in Langdon, Livia Daniela Bergea remembers the moment she heard something outside her home, the sounds of which got captured on a phone as she spoke to a friend.
I was leaving a message. And then to me, it sounded like loud banging.
Those shots killed 42-year-old Sedrick Miller as he walked with 2 young children. 12 days later, leftover crime scene tape still remains up where the shooting took place, but the suspect remains on the loose.
Northwest D.C. man shot and killed while holding a baby in the hand of a 5-year-old. Tonight, police are still searching for the shooter in yesterday's shooting on 18th Street in Northeast.
And with the rise in violent crime in our region, we're looking at the psychological impact on those who witness and experience this type of violence. Fox 5's Paris Jones live in Northeast tonight with more details. Paris?
Yeah, so while the 2 children remain unharmed physically after Friday's shooting out here, we know that police and neighbors say they can't imagine the type of mental trauma they were going through. Now, tonight, we spoke to a clinical psychologist about this, and he said seeing something like this at such a young age can lead to several different problems later down the road.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and that can include like hypervigilance, so having to be aware of all your surroundings, avoiding certain situations, avoiding talking about that incident, or avoiding going near where that incident took place. Depression can definitely result from that, anxiety. Also anger issues, and then kind of conversely, being desensitized to violence.
And with the increase in violent crime we've seen in the D.C. area lately, we also asked him how those who have either witnessed or experienced violence deal with the trauma that comes with it. Brandon Williams tells me sometimes people can become numb, but at some point that numbness can turn into anger because people want to hold others accountable for those crimes. He says one way to help deal with that trauma, if you know something, say something.
No, there's this stop snitching culture out there, but we need to just throw that out. We need to get these people off the streets because they're going to keep doing it, especially if they get away with it. So that's one way to stop having to deal with it, is to get those people off the streets, and then to get help for yourself. I mean, just because you didn't experience the crime doesn't mean you weren't affected by it.
And tonight, police are still looking for that suspect who shot and killed 42-year-old Sedrick Miller. If you have any information, give them a call.
Back to the district now, where police have just identified a suspect in a horrifying murder case. A father shot on a sidewalk in the morning while holding his 2 young children. Bob Barnett this morning, live at MPD headquarters with the update. Bob?
Hey, Steve, any murder is awful, obviously, but this one's just hard to believe. At least this morning, D.C. police have identified a suspect, and we want to show you 2 of his prior mugshots. This man is not in custody. You see one picture from 2018, the other one from 2019. His appearance changing significantly over that time. He is 27-year-old Jarrell David Harris of Southeast Washington. He's a suspect in the shooting death from 2 weeks ago. It was Friday, March 4th. 8:30 in the morning. This is the 2300 block of 18th Street Northeast. A man named Sedrick Miller, who was 42 years old, was shot dead. It was in the morning. He was in front of his home. He was holding the hand of one of his children, a 5-year-old, and had his 6-month-old baby in a car seat at the time. He was shot multiple times. The children were not hurt. He died there at the scene. The community just outraged.
It's heart-wrenching to think that things are so out of control that when they see kids, they don't even recognize it or honor it or respect it. They go after you, and I don't know what's the deal with the kids. I pray that they're safe.
They are safe, but this man, Jarrell Harris, is still out on the streets. And again, it's going to be hard to know what exactly he looks like today because his appearance changed so much from 2018 to 2019. Obviously, a lot going on in his life. He is now wanted for a charge of first-degree murder while armed, guys.
Now, what if I tell y'all a dude that did it only got sentenced to 13 years? Yo, we back. It's your ace Popalot. Salute the almighty MOBB. We just pulled into DC with it. Y'all meet us in Northeast. Now, for those of us that know the district, we all know it to be and have been a dangerous place with one time in the early 90s becoming the murder capital. But an incident would occur in March of 2022 that would lead the police commissioner to say that it was one of the most horrible acts to be committed in the 5th district in years. Now today I'm going to try to do my best to tell you the story of a 42-year-old guy by the name of Sedrick Miller that would befriend another man in jail. They would eventually fall out, and that man would eventually take his life in early March of 2002 in northern DC's Langdon neighborhood. Besides saying that the two met and befriended each other in jail, the media wouldn't go into detail as far as the depths of the relationship, but they would say they would eventually have some sort of fallout, which would lead to the morning of March 4th at around 8:30 a.m. on the 2300 block of 18th Street in Northeast DC, when investigators say Sedrick Miller would be walking with a person described only as witness 1, along with his 2 children. One who was an infant that he was carrying in a car seat, along with the 5-year-old whose hand he was holding, when he would be confronted by his former cellmate, a guy by the name of Jarrell David Harris, who was 27 years old at the time, and from the other side of town, Southeast DC. Now, according to witness 3, who said to have been watching the commotion from a second-floor apartment, they explained a situation where the 2 men would begin to exchange words before Jarrell Harris would up a firearm, shooting Sedrick Miller 11 times, 5 times in his torso, 4 in the face and neck area, 1 time in his upper right, and another time in his upper left extremity, which almost sounds like overkill, but when you think about the 2 kids in the situation, it just makes it bizarre. Now, authorities would arrive on the scene and they would find Miller showing no signs of life. He would be shortly taken to the office of the chief medical examiner, where he would eventually be pronounced dead. Now, court documents would show that 13 shell casings from a 9mm handgun would be found near Miller's body, and police would also discover a green satchel that would contain Miller's ID, as well as a Taurus handgun with 1 round in the chamber and 6 rounds in a 12-round clip. Additional documents would show that they would also find a plastic container with multiple Ziploc bags of what they suspected to be narcotics in his sock. It doesn't say how authorities connected Jarrell Harris to the crime, but the 3rd witness would inform police that they saw Jarrell Harris fire multiple shots from a second-floor window. The Metro Police Department would search for a suspect in this heinous crime for more than 2 months before the Capital Area Regional Federal Task Force would obtain a DC Superior Court arrest warrant and take Harris into custody not longer on May 6th. Being wanted on first-degree murder charges, his trial wouldn't start to January of 2023. The trial would outline Harris's significant criminal history before the murder of Sedrick Miller, including prior convictions for unlawful firearm possession, robbery, and assault throughout the D.C. and Prince George's County in Maryland. I'm sure looking at whatever other evidence the police had, as well as an eyewitness, Harris would go on to plead guilty, telling prosecutors that he regretted his actions and sought to spare Miller's children from the trauma that would result in a lengthy trial. Now, I'm not sure if it's that saved him from a case that definitely sounds like a lifetime in prison, but he would eventually plead guilty to a voluntary manslaughter charge, and Washington, D.C.'s U.S. Attorney would recommend that 13-year prison sentence, followed by 5 years supervised release, citing his history of violent crime. Now, y'all the ones that let me know the rules change from what they were when there's no passes for nobody. But the more I cover the streets, it shows me way better than y'all could even try to tell me. Now, y'all make sure y'all hit the red bell and subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real trill spill shit is dropping. Y'all get in the comment box and let me know how crazy this situation is. Don't forget to let me know what cities we need to go to, what stories we need to tell, what we got wrong, what I missed, what gangsters I need to tap in on. And definitely make sure y'all hit me directly. Instagram, Twitter, POP_A_LOT. Until the next time, salute the almighty MOBB gang.